I have a feeling you're both hearing a lot about this, but I'm full-blown obsessed with socks. I don't care if you use all of my time today talking about this, but I want the full oral history on socks. How'd the idea come to be, and how did the character evolve from like original inception to what we see in the finished film?
Okay, well, at the beginning of developing the movie, I was working with Matt Aldrich, who was our first writer, who left the project amicably. He had other things to do. He and I were thinking about a cute thing. We needed a cute thing for the movie. And we did a research into what cute things were good and what cute things were bad. And the cute thing was something that was like loyal to our hero and was not snarky and was funny, but not in a sarcastic or cynical way. And looking at the way R2-D2 and his limited movement was always appealing to us. So we had first thought like a monkey because of the space program, like there would be this monkey sent to space and that would be that kind of thing, but then like a helper monkey. But it wasn't quite as funny as cat movement. Robotic cat movement was funnier. And we always thought of like, oh, cat on a computer is funny, so if we can get cat on a computer, we'll do that. And then so we combining a lot of the kind of animatronic sensibilities with this kind of helper cat instead of a helper monkey became socks. And so yeah, that was just one of the earlier things. There were two big things that Matt had done. That and the sandwiches was a riff that he and I did. So he and I were both like the cat and the sandwiches. So yeah, so then Peter Sohn was who we thought would be great for the role. We had him as our temporary voice, and he was always meant to be this thing where Buzz was going to be isolated from society. We had that first, and so the cat was going to be his one constant through time. But there used to be this whole thing where he would like, hey, you want to watch TV or you want to go to a party? He kept like trying to like throw things to him, like, hey, there's might be
get him socialized.
Yeah, get him socialized. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was this great Bed Bath & Beyond joke we had to cut, which is an amazing sentence to say. He's like, where he's like saying, Buzz has been gone so long that there's like a mountain of Bed Bath & Beyond coupons like behind his door. And then the cat say, they 30% off. Even if they're expired, they'll still take them, which I was sad to lose that joke. Yeah, so that's the beginning of Socks.
I am a very big believer that you just delivered one of the best characters ever in a Pixar movie. And given how high their standards already are, that is really something else. This is a little bit of an obnoxious question about that though, but given the fact that Lightyear exists within the reality of Toy Story, was there ever a concern that Socks was like so damn cute that it would seem strange that Socks toys didn't exist in Andy's world?
No, because
that's a good one.
Because the Buzz toy is from, it's from imagine like a cartoon, and I don't know if Socks is in that cartoon. Like they may have let's do, now Buzz is with something else.
Made the cartoon without Socks.
Yeah,
Socks is so lovable.
Yeah, no, they would have been like, we're gonna
too much to animate. Yeah,
they're gonna go, well, actually, or it could have been like Fantastic Four, where it's like, we can't put Johnny Human Torch in there. We'll put Herbie the Robot. They would mix up the load out there for that thing. But no, there was originally when we first pitched Socks to Andrew, he's like, but there was no cat. We didn't have a cat. Andrew, you didn't have a cat in the movie. Toy Story. I'm like, we had to but it could be great. And also, who knows what? Andy has the entire line of toys. That's a lot.
That's why the next thing should be Toy Story 1.5, and it's about a different kid in another house where instead of Buzz, they have a Socks.
Yeah, that's funny.
Wow.
Yeah.
I could go on and on about this.
Yeah, look at that. Yeah.
Speaking of that particular world, Andy's reality, in Andy's reality, was Lightyear the movie also created by Pixar? Does Pixar exist within a Pixar movie?
We found out today that yes, it does.
But I didn't understand.
We didn't know. It's simple because Pixar, it says Pixar in the title of our movie.
Right.
That means Pixar exists in Andy's world, right? And at the end of the movie.
But we somehow were.
No, we're characters in the movie.
Oh.
So now, if you think about it, now we're like Disney characters that we made the movie in universe.
Okay.
Someone's like, "What was the name of the filmmaker?" And we were like, "I don't know. I made up some nonsense." And then he's like, "No, because your name is in the credits." So basically they figured out that we exist in the
characters.
That's weird.
I love that. Technically, every single person involved in making this movie is now a Pixar character, and that thrills me.
It probably has some legal implications we don't want to investigate, but that's fine. Yeah.
I have to ask you about casting Chris too, because it even mentioned Captain America in the notes in terms of that character also being a hero out of time. So how much did his performance as Captain America really influence your decision to cast him in this iconic role?
Well, it was his ability to do the kind of heroic superhero character and also do comedy at the same time. But we discovered today when someone had a similar question that it was the movie Snowpiercer that actually
both of us. That sold both of us on Chris, right? It's so random.
But as far as
discover that 5.5 years later,
the depth
film.
Of his, right? Yeah, right. Well, the depth of his performance in that movie was like, I see.
Yeah.
We could do a superhero or a heroic character who has a pretty big, interesting flaws.
Yeah, who has a deep-seated guilt and a conscience, right?
Yeah, we needed guilt.
I never thought I'd be connecting Snowpiercer with a Pixar movie, but this all makes total sense to me.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk a little bit about your histories with Pixar. So Galyn, first for you, is there anything that like 1995 you, first working on the first Toy Story movie, that, would never imagine something that you managed to accomplish on Lightyear would ever be possible, whether it's a tech thing, a story development, anything at all?
Okay, well, first of all of it. But like backing up for a second, when we did Toy Story, no film had been done on computers before, right? Like the whole concept was totally new, and I didn't actually understand what we were doing. I didn't understand it until I got into a theater with normal people and watched it and went, oh, wait a second, it's a movie. Like we were making graphic images. I didn't get that we were making a movie. So I could never have conceived of this from that perspective in and of itself. But also the technology is, think about it, right? The iPhone is more powerful than the computers we used to create Toy Story. Like things have changed radically in the last 30 years. It's pretty phenomenal.
Wow, and so you lay it out like that. That is incredible.
Yeah.
I was just having that dilemma with my iPhone that could now shoot 4K versus paying all this money on like a different camera to shoot videos. It's not necessary anymore. It's wild.
There you go.
All right, so for you now, this is your very first time solo directing a Pixar feature film. So even with all your experience working on Pixar films in other capacities, was there anything about, being the sole helmer on one of these films that, caught you by surprise and maybe required a bit of a learning curve?
Well, I look at it, the way I look at it is I'm so glad I got to do everything I did before this movie. And everything that I learned leading up into this film, I utilized on the film. There weren't a lot of surprises just because I'd been so close to the process. But it really was surprising to me. It was like, I don't know what experience I wouldn't have wanted to have had to make the movie. And so I think that the benefits of everything that I've learned allowed me to maximize what we needed to get up on screen. So that's the way I think about it.
It's quite the evolution. It's part of the reason why I admire Pixar so much, because sticking with the same talent and fostering them and giving them a thorough understanding of every department, I think makes all the difference on these films.
Thank you very much. Thank you.